Rangers, I've called you here unexpectedly. Rita has unleashed a new monster in Angel Grove. His name is the Snizzard. Observe the viewing globe.
Oh, no, man, get that Zordon.
Hey, has anybody seen my glasses?
It's Morphina! And Putties!
Oh, man.
Where is he? Where's the
I
Snizzard?
thought we'd see him. Where is he?
Where's the Snizzard, Zordon? This is just stock footage of Scorpina.
Alpha!
Affirmative.
What can I say? She's got a nice stinger.
The viewing globe is for business purposes only, Alpha.
Look enough of these funny games. Let's get back to action. It's Morphin time!
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus! Blade blasters up! Fire!
Your weapons are no match for me.
That apple on his head! It reflected all our power right back at him!
Straight out of Finster's monster-making machine and back for the Power Rangers 30th anniversary. It's the Lightning Collection, Mighty Morphin Snizzard. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Figg Nooten's Figures. It's your guy Figg Nooten, and we're back today with another figure review. Today it's the Mighty Morphin Snizzard. I remember this guy, you know, he's half snake, half lizard. That's how we get the Snizzard. He has that big mouth that opens up to 2 levels. He has the snakes popping out, snake rope. He actually comes back for the 30th anniversary. I had this guy in the box from when he was originally released, and I still haven't even opened him, but we're gonna get around to it today. Starting off here with the box, we got a 3D rendering here of the Snizzard. On the back, we get a 3D rendering of the Snizzard with some of the accessories. He comes with this like bow and arrow. He has another accessory to wrap around the leg, or maybe a ranger. And then he has this rope here. He stands at about 7.5 inches tall. Some of these monsters here for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers line, they're pretty big. And so with no further ado, guys, go get you some freaking monster clay to throw in Finster's machine. Grease up your magic wand, and let's make this monster grow with the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Snizzard. Okay, so here he is, guys, fresh out of the box. It's the Snizzard. He's got a lot of different reptilian looks going on here. I really like the snakes. Look at that fin there on the back. Look, we're gonna take a deeper look, but first let's take a look at the accessories that are included here with Mr. Sniz. Okay, let's take a look at the accessories that are included here with the Snizzard. Starting off with this snake. It has a little bit better molding than what I previously expected. You get some nice snake skin all over it. Here at the head is what I think I was really impressed with. It's a pretty nice little snake head. They did some nice detailing there. What I like about it, it's got this like stretchy texture to it. And so you could wrap this around the Snizzard's leg. You could wrap it around a Power Ranger. Pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. And then we get the bow and arrow here. Looks like it has like a cobra head scaling there at the bottom of it. Some more nice scaling. Pretty simple, but I do appreciate it here on the top of the cobra head. Another snake here wrapped around the bow. You can see there's the head with some red eyes. He has some fangs there. Feathers here, they're not painted or anything, so not a whole lot of paint here on this bow and arrow. Just pretty much this light tan and this green. Here we get the Lightning Collection effect. Almost every figure from this line comes with something like this. And it has 4 little slots into it that you're gonna pour onto the top of the Snizzard's head. And I remember this from the show. He was emitting some kind of like red power from the top of his head from that golden apple. So this is pretty cool. And then we're gonna get the tail here. You can see it has some of those reptilian designs there on the top of it. It's slightly bendy. Usually when you see these holes in the bottom of it, there's probably a wire on the inside, so you can mold this guy around a little bit. He has some spikes up and down the side of the tail. And there's some nice texturing going up and down of it to kind of give it like a muscly tail look. There's a hole here that you would just insert into the back of the Snizzard. And we're gonna do that here in a second. That's gonna wrap it up for a close look here at the Snizzard. And let's just go ahead and start here at the top of the head. He has this gold apple here that's coming out, and you have some gold paint. Looks like kind of like some power energy source emitting from the top of his head. And this is where he draws his power from. The Power Rangers have to eliminate that apple to weaken this guy. He has a fin going down the back of his head, and it's kind of translucent, so you can kind of see through it. Looks good when the light hits it. Kind of sharp. You can see some of the bones here inside the fins. Here at the top of the head, you get some scaling with some green paint. Looks kind of hand painted on there, but it looks pretty well done. A couple lines here on the side of the head. The eyes are red. has kind of a serpent snake look to it there. Moving on down to the mouth actually can hinge up and down, but it also can come out here from the front and fold down, exposing the inside of the mouth. And there's an extra hinge here at the bottom, so this can still go up and down to your liking. And here at the bottom of the mouth, there's even some more molding here with some more scales. The teeth go all the way up and down the side here. They're kind of jagged. They're not perfectly proportioned. They're not straight by any means. And you get some detailing here with the texture on the red paint all inside of the mouth. This can fold down. And then you get these snakes on the inside. There's 2 snakes here, and these are on a hinge. I remember in the show, these snakes were going kind of crazy, attacking the Rangers. We get some good molding there on the snakes. Only the green paint, but you can see the eyes and the fangs. I think this is where most of the budget for this figure went. It wasn't so much the paint here on the legs, but it went all into this mouth, because look at all the articulation we get in here. I'm going to fold this back up. You can see how it kind of goes up and down though, even on the side of his torso. You got the teeth, you can kind of see like the inner part of his mouth. He has some more scales going up and down the torso, some snakes here on the legs. I went ahead and put that accessory wrapped around his leg just to give it some more detail, a little bit more character for my guy. And then here on his arms, he has some more green paint, some scales, and his hands are actually snakes, you can see here. There's no articulation on the mouth here for these snakes, but there is some lighter paint on the belly of them. On the back of the figure, we get the diamondback pattern going up and down. It all comes together really nicely. There's so much, he's not any kind of particular lizard or snake. He's a little bit of both. And I think they achieved that look pretty good here. You know, the Power Rangers suits, they're all derived from the Super Sentai series, and then the American series kind of puts their own spin on it to make it work with the script. Sometimes the suits look a little goofy. However, this time I think they nailed it. All right, let's have a look at the articulation here on the Snizzard, and he's got some pretty interesting articulation. Let's just start with the head. First of all, this can come down, of course, right? There's a hinge here. This can hinge back and forth. And then the top of the head can go up and down a little bit. It's kind of like on a ball joint as well, but it can't really go side to side. And the only thing I really don't like about that is that he can't move side to side. And so when he's holding the bow and arrow, it can't look like he's shooting it, you know, like in the direction that he's actually going to hold it. So his face is kind of facing forward while the bow and arrow is kind of in this direction over here. So that's maybe one thing I don't like. Here at the arms, they're on a single hinge here, up and down. You do get some 360. The elbows are on a hinge as well with some 360. And then you get the same here at the wrist, a hinge with some 360 action. Here he has a diaphragm joint in the midsection, so you can rock back and forth pretty good. Side to side, no problem. I do like that articulation. Here at the legs, these are on a ball joint. You do get a thigh cut here. Single jointed knees, some hinge action here at the ankles with a little bit of a rocker. If I throw the tail back on here, we could check that out. The tail goes up and down. It is kind of bendy. You could move side to side. I like the way this tail feels. It's not a hard plastic, it's soft. It feels almost like it's a real lizard tail here. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for articulation. Okay, so for our first comparison here, we have the pumpkin wrapper next to the Parantis fish. In the middle, we have the Snizzard. These are 7-inch scale figures. I like all the monsters that have been released so far, and I'm looking forward to even some more. Next up, we got King Sphinx here, and then we got Eye Guy. I really like this Eye Guy. I'm thinking about maybe doing a wash on some of the eyeballs over here, and maybe even a wash here on the King Sphinx. I've seen that done by some other collectors, and it looks pretty nice. Maybe the Snizzard would look nice with a little bit of a wash there on the chest. Let's take a look at a couple more monsters. So now let's have a look at the Pudgy Pig here next to the Snizzard, and we have the Hasbro Megazord. The Megazord doesn't really scale up here with these monsters quite as well. You can see he's noticeably bigger. I believe he's about 12 inches. These guys here are about 7 inches. The Pudgy Pig also features that mouth that closes up and down pretty nicely. Let's take a look at the Snizzard next to some Power Rangers. Next up, we have some Power Rangers, Tommy the Green Ranger and Jason the Red Ranger. I think these scale up nicely from like the battle scenes when they fight in the park. Let's take a look at a couple more. Here we have the Pink Ranger, Kimberly, and Scorpina next to the Snizzard. I believe it's Kimberly, if my memory serves me right, that takes out the Snizzard by shooting him in the head with one of her arrows. Let's take a look at a couple more. We got Rita from the Rita and Lord Zed 2-pack, and here we got Finster. He's on the little clay dudes. You can see he's got a couple of them on deck. He's the guy who actually cooked up the Snizzard. Let's have a look at a couple more. We have the Snizzard next to some OG Ranger flip heads. We got Tommy and we got Jason here. Gotta love those retro flip heads. All right, so here we go with the world's smallest action figure here. I have the Yellow Ranger here and the Black Ranger. These are about the smallest Rangers I could find that have some nice paint on them. I think they kind of scale up pretty good with this, especially if you have like a 7-inch Megazord. I think Super 7 makes one. Let's take a look at the Snizzard next to some other Zords. Here's a look at the Snizzard next to some 7-inch Megazords. We have the OG Megazord, and then we have the Dragonzord Megazord. These are part of the Hasbro VHS series. And then we have the Thunder Megazord and the White Tiger Zord in Warrior mode. I really feel like these scale the best with all of the monsters. These Megazords from the VHS series, they don't have a whole lot of paint, but for me they look good enough if you're trying to recreate some battle scenes when this guy's all blown up. And here we got some Bandai Masked Rider, Kamen Rider figures. Picked these guys up a while back at the local comic book shop. These are about 6-inch scale figures, about the same size as those Hasbro Power Rangers. Of course, Kamen Rider had a cameo in the Power Rangers, so he definitely could duke it out here with the Snizzard. For our last comparison, I have the T-Rex Zord, I have the Saber-Tooth Tiger Zord. And as far as battling when this dude's, in giant mode, these might scale up if you wanted to recreate a little scene. That's going to do it for comparisons. Guys, let's jump into Figg's final thoughts. Okay, so for my final thoughts on the Snizzard, look, I'm a total sucker for Mighty Morphin Lightning Collection, so he definitely had an advantage getting picked up, but he's a lot more impressive in person and could carry a few different looks. The paint on some areas is nicer than others. Take that gold apple, for example. With the combination of the green paint and the lightning effect, it looks great. However, in some areas like the legs and the bow and arrow, there is something that's left to be desired. Accessories are decent. I believe we've seen all of them at one point or another in the show. I actually made a total blunder, and though I mentioned it while going over the box, I forgot to pull the snake rope out of the accessory bag. I really like the mouth articulation and those two snakes coming out of the throat, plus that leathery tail is nice as well. 8 out of 10 figs here for the Snizzard. Look guys, if you like Power Rangers as much as I do, I got something real special coming up with one of the all-time great Rangers, the OG Red Ranger, Austin St. John. That's right, ASJ, so stay tuned because you don't want to miss it. Sure hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe for even more Lightning Collection reviews. That's gonna wrap it up, but as always, thanks for watching guys. We'll see you guys next time. It's your guy Figg Nooten. Figg Nooten, out.